Today we're going to talk about Meze Liric 1. Man, look at it, it's so beautiful. And actually this is the best headphone in the closed back category that I've heard so far, which is a very strong statement and a very interesting thing to say because, man, this headphone doesn't even sell anymore. They have the Liric 2, which costs $2,000, Liric 1 costed $2,000 too, very expensive stuff, but they are going to sound different, of course. They have made tweaks about the sound signature, and I haven't heard Liric 2, so I won't be able to tell you which one's better. But since Liric 1 doesn't even sell anymore, why do a review about it? Because, man, a lot of people are going to find this thing right here used in the market, so they can buy a used unit, and a lot of people have Meze Liric 1, so we can see how it stacks up in the market today. Of course, we are going to talk about build quality, about the overall sound signature, about the technical aspects of the sound signature, and I will compare it to other closed backs that I've loved so far. And take a seat, let's begin with the build quality. I have some caveats to talk right here because I don't have the full unboxing experience. This unit right here is used, so I won't be able to cover the unboxing. I don't have the cable, I don't have the case, I don't have the box, but I have the headphone, the most important thing. And coming from Meze, I knew all the time that it was going to be a very sturdy headphone, and it is a very classy headphone in the looks, and it is, and a very comfortable one too. I gotta say, man, Meze nails the build quality department as always, and I have some interesting things to say about it. First of all, the sturdiness of the headphone is, as always, very well made, very sturdy, very robust headphone, and it isn't very heavy. But some things. First things first, this, as Meze said, was meant to be a portable headphone, and I don't think it is, man, actually. It's closed back, yes. The first point is that the noise isolation is very strong because it has a spring mechanism that attaches to your head pretty strongly, and these pads right here are very closed, a leather pad, very closed, so the overall noise isolation is pretty good. And actually, to other people around you too, I was blasting this headphone actually at home and asking to people right here if they can hear what I was hearing. They can't hear anything, so in this department is a very good headphone for a mobile kind of headphone, for a street headphone. But man, it's so huge. In my opinion, it's very techy, very weird to go outside with something like this on your head. But again, it's just my opinion. And the second part that it's not an opinion, is actually a statement, is that this headphone isn't as easy to drive as Meze say it is. It needs current to sound correctly, so not a ton of power, but something like a dongle, a strong dongle with balanced connectors, or a Bluetooth device like BTR17, which is pretty strong in the balanced connection. It's going to be necessary to drive this headphone. If you just plug it in your laptop, computer, or something like that, your cell phone, if it has some kind of connector, it's not going to sound very good. So huge headphone, massive headphone that needs power to drive, in my opinion, not the best option to go outside. If you're looking to use it in a plane or something like that, in a traveling situation, it makes sense, but on the streets, I would not use it, although it's a very beautiful headphone. Talking about how gorgeous this headphone is, I am kinda torn apart between Meze Liric 1 and 2 in the build department, because Meze Liric 1 goes through a very interesting style that I've never seen any headphone going for. It's a full leather headphone almost. This right here is leather, and this is plastic around, a very strong and sturdy plastic, but the cups, you can see, this right here is leather too, so, and the pads too, so it's a very leathery headphone, and the looks are just very luxurious and gorgeous because of the leather construction, the leather parts. And this right here is always aluminum with a copper kind of color, so just a beautiful headphone. And the Meze Liric too is also very beautiful. The overall structure of the headphone is the same, but instead of leather right here, we have wood. So wood versus leather, both are very luxurious, both are gorgeous. I do prefer the wood construction actually, but the leather one is so different. I never seen a headphone with this kind of style, so very nice stuff. And the comfort, man, Meze just nails. The headband is very comfortable, very pillowy, and the ear pads too, so Gary got it, man. Amazing headphone, amazing comfort, amazing build quality, amazing pads. Just take care that it's a very big one and needs some kind of amplification to work, so I would not advise it to streetwear actually. But what can I say about the sound signature, man? Meze is a very controversial brand because they go for a different kind of sound signature with their stuff. And I actually love it because they actually don't want and don't care to do a neutral and natural and linear, anyway, all this kind of beautiful words, kind of sound signature. They go for a very beautiful, lush and exciting kind of sound signature that I dig. And if I want something to be absolutely neutral and linear, I would just buy an Etymotic and be happy, but I want some excitement in my music, and I see a lot of backlash at Meze products because they don't follow a neutral sound signature. But man, there is the deal. They are going for a different kind of sound signature that can suit a lot of people, and for neutral heads, of course, it's not going to be suitable. And we gotta talk about the technical aspects of this kind of sound signature, and if the sound signature that they are going for makes sense or not, because sometimes we have a very bass heavy headphone with a bloated boomy bass, and we can have a very bass heavy headphone with a beautiful dynamic and control bass. So we gotta talk. They go to this sound signature, are they able to extract the most of this kind of sound signature? And I think that Meze Liric is such a beautiful headphone in the beauty department and in the sound signature department, and they've nailed this kind of sound signature. It's a very V-shaped headphone with a ton of bass and a lot of treble. A lot of people talk about the treble that Meze does in 109, Elite and Lyric. They found the treble of Meze being very sharp and analytical, and I think I can agree with them, but actually the way they do treble appeals a lot to me because they got a lot of extension in the treble, a lot of treble in the air region, and I like it. It's going to be a personal preference. A lot of people like a lot of air in the presentation. A lot of people are very sensible to this kind of treble, so you gotta be very careful with what you like in a treble. I am very sensible to treble actually if it's the lower portion of the treble, but in the upper treble, man, I can enjoy all this extension, all this airiness, and I actually just love it. And I love what it does to the overall sound signature and the excitement that it brings firstly, and the technical prowess that the treble can bring to the headphone. I know a lot of people talk about fake details because they are pushing a lot of treble, a lot of air, a lot of ziness, but man, this is actually a very detailed headphone, and I love the way that the bass is done too. From the Meze headphones that I've heard, which are Elite, Imperial 1, 99 Classics, and the 109, 105, this is the second bassier that I've heard. 99 Classics has more bass. 99 Classics is a bass canon actually, and 109, 105 have a lot of bass too, Imperial too. But Lyric has more. Lyric has a lot of bass, and the bass is so beautiful, man. It got a lot of sub bass actually, not mid bass. So it's a very rumbly kind of bass, a very strong sense of power in the bass, which is very interesting. 109 goes for a more slam kind of bass with a lot of air and impact in the presentation, and Lyric goes for a more rumbly and meaty kind of bass with a lot of sub bass, as I said, with a lot of texture, a lot of deepness to the bass that, man, is so amazing. This bass is so amazing, and the control is superb. It can keep up with very complex genres, with very fast tracks, and it compounds for this very how can I say, this very contrasty kind of sound signature with a lot of air in the upper treble and a lot of ground in the sub bass region. Now when we talk about the mids are interesting because they are recessed, of course. This is a V-shaped headphone, but the tonal balance of the mids, in my opinion, is pretty spot on. Some people talk about a honkness in the mids. I don't find it actually. I find that the mids are very linear but just recessed, and they have a nice body because of the bass, and they have a nice openness because of the airy treble. So it's a very beautiful kind of presentation, and some technical aspects of this presentation compounds for this exciting kind of sound signature. It's not a neutral headphone, it's not a tool, it's an enjoyment and luxurious kind of sound signature. First of all, because of the treble and because of the bass, which are very forward, but as I said, very well done, without any kind of peak to my ears and without any muddiness at the bass. And the technical aspects compounds for this sound signature. First of all, the overall soundstage for a close back is very wide with a very black kind of background, so you can hear all this excitement in the headphone and a very black space between instruments, which compounds for a even more exciting sound signature. And man, the imaging of this headphone is so interesting. It got me off guard immediately when I first heard it, because it can sound very spacious, as I said, with a very good layering front to back, and instruments can sound behind you. Okay, a lot of headphones can do it. Up right here in your head. Okay, some headphones can do it, like Hi-Fi area, and they can sound below you. I never heard a headphone doing this like Meze Liric does. The imaging is very interesting and weird. I can hear instruments up and low and back and front to back. So at least to my ears, it's very spherical kind of even oval kind of soundstage with a lot of layering that it's so interesting, man. And when we talk about this sound signature, a very vivid one, it works very good with hip-hop, rap, these newer genres, with metal. It gives life to the music. But when you get more calmer genres like jazz, man, this is a monster for jazz because of the air in the presentation and because of this layering and imaging. Man, the layering and imaging in this headphone is very fake actually, but it's beautiful and I just love it. I gave this headphone to my wife listening to, and she hated it. She said that something was wrong with the stage because it was very confusing. The instruments were up there and down below, and I understand her point. It's a very different kind of sound signature. Music sounds different in this headphone, but I love it, and I love the way that this guy presents music. For detail retrieval, it's a good headphone. It got a lot of air, as I said. It got a lot of singleness. The bass got a lot of control and texture, so it's a very resolving kind of headphone. The treble is actually pretty fast. Planar driver, working very hard, just like I am right now, to resolve things. But for $2,000 it gotta be resolving, so I'm more than satisfied with this headphone right now, and I recommend it to anyone. Now for some comparisons. I haven't listened to a lot of very high-end closed back headphones, but I've listened to Denon 9200, which is the most balanced one and costs a lot, I think $1,500, something like that. I think that Liric is a more interesting headphone, and Denon goes for a more linear kind of sound signature. A very lush and warm sound signature too, Denon goes for, but I think that the overall build quality of Meze is better. Denon is made of steel and wood, which is very interesting, but the comfort isn't as good as Meze, and the overall resolution of Liric is better, especially at the treble. Now, when we talk about focal, I haven't heard focal stallion, so I will not be able to compare the top of the line from focal to the top of the line from Meze in the closed back department, but I've listened to Elysia and Celestee, so I will compare it to Celestee. I think that Celestee is as well made as Liric. It's such a gorgeous headphone too. The comfort is very good. I think that focal have nailed the build quality at Celestee. In the look department, I think that it's the most beautiful focal that I've ever seen and heard. But when we talk about the overall sound signature, I think that Liric is way better. It makes sense, it costs more than double. I think that it's double, $1,000 or $800. I don't know which is the price of Celestee actually right now. Anyway, the Soundstage of Celestee is very compressed, a very intimate kind of headphone with a lot of resolution too, so everything is happening inside your head very fast, Man, I think that Celestee is a very fatiguing headphone actually, and I think that the mids of Celestee are kind of thin and metallic. I don't like the overall sound signature of Celestee. I know a lot of people love focal Celestee, but it's not my case. When we talk about the bass, I prefer Meze Liric bass too because it has more sub bass, it has a lot of mid bass too, it has more MIDI and more texture, but Celestee has more dynamics, has more air in the presentation, more humph, more impact, so it's a different kind of vibe, but I think Liric is a better headphone. And I've reviewed back then in my native language channel the Sennheiser HD820, which is an amazing headphone and costs even more than Liric, $2,400 I guess. And it's a very tough comparison because they are very different. Sennheiser's closed back version of the most utopic sound possible goes to a very detailed, analytical and open kind of sound signature. It's a 800S closed back actually. So Sennheiser said that they are going for the most open headphone ever made in the Soundstage department for a closed back, and they did it. The Soundstage of 820 is just gigantic. It's like double the size of Liric, which is already a very big soundstage. The imaging and detail retrieval is very interesting too. It's even more resolving in some aspects in the mids and in the bass than Liric. In the treble, I think they are even. But Sennheiser goes to a very analytical kind of sound signature with way more treble, way more thinner mids too, way less bass. And Liric goes for a luxurious, fun kind of sound signature again. So if you're looking for something technical, I think that Sennheiser HD820 is the better headphone, but for the fun and engaging listening, I prefer Meze Liric. And if I have to choose just one headphone, one closed back to rule them all, from everything that I've heard so far, I would choose Liric. It's such a good headphone. I just love the experience, and I hope you have loved the review too. Hope you have enjoyed. Hope you can give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I see you guys in the next video. See ya!